Welcome to another episode of the Farmers Podcast. I'm your host, Fredo, and today I have Brooke with me again. I think it's your third episode.
Yeah, third.
Third episode with us, so thank you for coming again. And it's November 6th, day after the election, the most historic comeback in the history of scandals and presidential anything that you can think of. Nothing will top this one off. And I did say yesterday that I was going to make one more video for today. And I want to welcome you guys back again. Welcome the viewers. And if you haven't subscribed, like I keep telling you guys every video, please subscribe to the channel. I wanted to make this video just to kind of have a rundown of what happened during the election. I know yesterday everybody was under the impression that Kamala Harris was going to win for some reason. And I wanted to clarify that that was not my position. Again, I remember I've talking to a lot of people just here in California, and then just, I actually did follow this election pretty good. I predicted Trump winning by majority. I also predicted that the Senate would be flipped back to the GOP. I didn't think he was going to win the popular vote, though. The way the media put it out there and portrayed him as a fascist, as a dictator, Hitler, and everything, that was probably one of the only surprises that this election has, put me on. But, a lot of people, I woke up this morning and I watched a lot of the media, different medias, and they were talking about how especially the left media, CNN, MSNBC, and Morning Joe, whatever that guy's show is called, they were in shock. They didn't understand what happened. They didn't understand. They've been blind the last 4 years of this country, of what's happened to this country, and they were basically in disbelief of everything. They didn't understand how Americans made the choice to vote for Trump. They didn't understand why or how or what would possess people to do that. I guess that's how much out of touch those people are with day-to-day people and the struggles that most of us live on a day-to-day basis. And, I followed, like I said, I watched all their shows, and the big difference, I would say, was that they were overestimating that the women's vote was going to be guaranteed for Kamala Harris because she's a woman of color and she would have been the first woman president. And now that it didn't play out so, and they started the blame game. They were trying to say that it was Joe Biden's fault because he took too long to get out. Everything but, and they even blamed Kamala Harris because they're saying now that everything that everybody else was saying, especially Fox, that she was a very unpopular candidate from the beginning in 2009. And the left media was just trying to figure out how they can scratch themselves out of this hole that they dug themselves in, because they've been saying since 2016 that Trump's not going to win. There's no way. the people are not going to vote him in. They're not going to give him another chance. And other than, if you want to say that the Republicans cheated, 70 million and counting votes. I mean, I don't know. It's on my phone right now. Where the latest update, it says 295 to 226 votes, electoral votes, and Nevada and Arizona haven't finished yet. For the Senate races, I have them at 44 seats for Democrat and 52 for the GOP. The House, 190 right now, still counties that are still counting votes, and I have the GOP 190 for Democrats and 206 for the GOP. So more likely, you need 218 for the majority. I think Republicans will take the majority. So this will be, I think the first time in over 20, 30 years they were saying, or something even further than that Republicans, the GOP, is going to have full control of the Senate, the House, and the White House. So expect a lot of changes. There's going to be a lot of America First policies that, most people are not going to be understanding of, especially if you're not a Republican. Especially if you're more of a progressive Democrat. I guess they don't like to be called liberals. So there's going to be, changes. I had conversations with people. People today told me, or last night, I can't remember if it was early in the morning, don't ever text me again. Just because I told them, reminded them of something they said. And that's fine. You know what I mean? If it hurts you that much to lose this one, that you're gonna be that way, I guess, it's whatever. I had to suffer the last 4 years. A lot of us suffer the last 4 years with this very radical, progressive administration. So trust me, you it's your turn. 4 years. You guys tell me 4 years where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, more centered right than where we're at right now, off to the left. But I'm gonna ask you on your input for, what do you think about the women's vote for this election that the Democrats were counting on?
I think that more women are upset about what has been happening. I follow a lot of the sports side of it. So
Title IX. She's talking about Title IX.
Yes. So the men playing in the women's sports, I do know they haven't really made a big fuss about that. They haven't really been trying to cover that with the media and everything until some of the colleges actually said, we're not playing you guys. I want to say it was Boise State.
Well, it was that, and then they sued the NCAA.
Yes.
And they took them to Congress, and they had a congressional hearing in the Senate.
Yeah, and I feel like women just kind of were like, that's not right. I mean, the women that I talked to that played sports, didn't want to go up against a man, but other women.
You don't believe in equality?
I do to a certain extent, I guess. Yes, we are equal, but I wasn't choosing, or they weren't choosing to play on a co-ed team. They're playing against an all-women's team, supposed to be an all-women's team. So if they signed up for a co-ed, they knew what they were going into. But since they were signed up to play a women's team, they should be playing women.
As a registered woman, what do you think was one of the issues, I guess you would say, for women to not go vote for them, other than the Title IX and women's rights? Because for the last year, or the last 3 years, progressive Democrats have made abortion
Yes.
the biggest topic for women's rights. But when they ranked it nationwide, it was inflation, economy, border,
Yes.
and maybe one more, and then abortion was either fourth or maybe sometimes three on top topics, but not one or two.
Like inflation and everything. I mean, I've been struggling with all the prices going up. I mean, who hasn't? I mean, unless you have a job that you get paid a lot, if you're on minimum wage, you can't get by. They want to raise minimum wage, but that doesn't do anything to help us. All it does is raise everything else because they have to raise their taxes to pay for the new minimum wage. Abortion, I feel like personally, Kamala was in the spot. She could have changed it to how she wanted it. So she's pro abortion.
Yeah, but she doesn't have. She's a vice president. She doesn't have the authority. The Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't how people are playing it out that Trump had anything. That Trump was the one that. No, the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. That was the existing law for the last 50 years.
And who was majority of Supreme Court? Democrat, Republican?
Well, right now the majority is Republican.
Is Republican.
So that's why they're saying that the Democrats are saying that the Supreme Court is biased. But I've shared my opinion on that. I think that it should go back to the states.
Mm-hmm.
The states should have control. You have, like I've told many people, you have more power of choosing local, representation and your state representation than you do federal, depending on your state.
Yep.
So I think it is a good thing to go back to the states. I've also for education to be pulled out of the federal and back to the states.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to the question, why do you think that prioritizing of abortion didn't really help the Democrats in this election, even though that was one of their hottest topics? Like, why do you think that didn't go through for them? If 70% of the voters are women.
Yes. I think, honestly, women just lie to people and they agree with what's happening right now, like with the abortion law. I mean, I know many people that are for and against it, and I just feel like because people get so upset when they don't have the same opinion. So I just feel like they're telling people one thing, but they're actually voting a different way. So, like, for me, personally, I'm in the middle. Like, I don't believe it as in birth control, but I do believe it's a life or death situation to a certain extent. Yes, like, I don't believe at 9 months, no. But within the first trimester, yeah.
Right, and I think a misconception of what people are coming to is that there's going to be some kind of a national abortion ban.
Mm-hmm.
Once it's in the states, people will vote on it.
Yeah.
And some states will
say no. Some
will say
yes.
not. They can't say no. They'll just be more conservative. They'll put a 21 weeks or 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that most states will, if it's an emergency or it's incest or rape, would not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, will allow you to get an
Yeah, I
abortion.
wouldn't be against it happening. But who knows? There's states that are really more strict on things, but it was funny because there was argument. I guess there was argument. I always call them conversations, but they think it's an argument because sometimes people can't have an honest conversation. And there is more. I felt like there was more men that were more angry on the Roe versus Wade on the progressive side than I was expecting. And I always thought it was really funny because I would just kind of hit them with the, what is the definition of a woman? You know, like,
Yeah.
you're saying that, you know, the GOP, the MAGA Republicans, not even call them GOPs, they're the MAGA Republicans. They're for taking women's rights, you know, and taking us back. But I've never met a Republican, a MAGA Republican that can't tell you what a woman is. And they can't tell you that there's only two genders.
I definitely think that there are more men involved in feminine
Movement? The feminist
movements.
movement?
Yeah. Like, I mean, yes, we would love the men's support, but to a certain extent, because it is the feminist movement. Like, you know what you're talking about to a certain extent. Does that make sense? Like, I mean, like, men understand, and we want your guys' like help, but in the end, it's our movement. But I don't even know if they know what they're even having the movement for.
Yeah, what is the feminist movement now?
I have no idea. Honestly, I don't even know what they're fighting for anymore.
You know, there was a video, I think it was one of the medias, they were talking about how women make less money to a dollar to men, and the inequality was so big, the gender gap. And the guy asked her, because there is a lot more educated women, you know, the data shows that women are earning more money now. They're even more educated and earning more money than men.
Yeah.
So the guy just proposed a question. He was like, if the data is showing what's accurate and companies can hire women for cheaper than men, why aren't the companies saving money and just hiring women?
Yeah.
He was just basically telling her, like, that's not true. Women are not, underpaid like people think.
I can't even think of a job that they're like, oh, they're going to pay me less than you are for doing the same thing.
Right,
I don't
right.
even know a job that does that.
I mean, there's jobs that obviously some women will not do.
Yeah, like, who wants to be a plumber?
Right. Anyways, but, like, he killed her with that.
Yeah.
Just that simple. Logic, I guess you could say it's logic. If it's cheaper to hire women, right? Why wouldn't companies just save money and hire nothing but women?
Yeah.
It's so out of touch people are with what's really going on. And I don't care. You know what I mean? To me, I believe in equal for everything. Equality for everybody. You work, you get what you earn. You know what I mean? I don't care who you are. I don't see color. I've told people many times, I don't care about gender or color or race. To me, either you're American or you're not American here. There is no in between. You're either American or you're not. So this is America. If you want to live here and work here, be American. You're not always going to agree with the policies that the administration or the governments, apply to your day-to-day life. But, we've had to suffer, like I said, the last 4 years. We didn't agree with a lot of these policies that they implemented with all the new taxes, with all the inflation, what about some of the new policies that Kamala and her administration and the Waltz administration, they were talking about giving $25,000, $50,000 for small business. People don't understand that this money has to come from somewhere. Like,
yeah,
they're
going to tax us more.
And that, and then debt forgiveness for college and all that stuff with the Biden administration. It was just not gonna work.
I mean, someone that's in college, that sounds amazing. I mean, debt forgiveness, but also, since I am a working college student, they're just going to tax me more. So in the end, I still don't have money. Either I'm paying it on the debt later on in life, or I don't have it now.
And the DEI and all that stuff, affirmative action, it set the country back, a decade or two. I feel like there's more racial tension now than there ever has been.
Yeah.
And I've been myself told, I'm racist to Caucasian white people, by white people.
I love when they hit them with that.
And then I've had Hispanic people say that I'm a sellout because I don't fully believe all the race baiting they do. You know what I mean? I don't fall for that. That's not.
Yeah.
I've shared this before in the podcast. My parents came here legally, and it took them a long time to get their status or permanent visa and stuff. So it's doable. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that we should stop all migration but we can't have an open border. That just doesn't make sense. Yeah. You're talking about, we're not even having infrastructure to house and to facilitate all these people, medical. It's just draining community resources, FEMA resources that they're saying that didn't go to migrants and stuff like that. Hotels that are booked, in all those sanctuary cities. And then the crazy thing is that the media won't cover it. You know what I mean? Mm-mm. They weren't, all the school, just overwhelming the system with all the immigrants from all these different countries. They were flying people from Haiti, from Venezuela. And you just can't have a functioning country when you're doing stuff like that. It's not in the best interest of people, and it hurts the citizens. It hurts the seniors, the taxing and stuff like that. So I knew all those factors were going to play a big role in this election. Mm-hmm. And, the people have spoken, and they are turning a page, but on the current administration. So, it's gonna be a rough one, especially if you thought that that Donald Trump's a dictator. It was a hard one for a lot of people to swallow. I was in conversations with even family members that think that we're all gonna get deported, and we were born here, so we're citizens.
I don't know.
And I had to reassure them that they're not going to get deported. That's not how the system works. There's a lot of litigation and courts and stuff, and it'll take decades before they can even undo some of the damage that's already been done by not vetting everybody that came into this country. So I do believe there will be deportation. But, I believe it'll be more of the people that go into the legal system through jails and prisons, and then they'll be revetted, because you're talking over 11 million people. There's no way they could possibly in 4 years round everybody up and ship them back home. You know what I mean? So for those that believe those conspiracy theories that day one there's going to be a mass deportation, I don't think so. The data shows that it won't happen. Yeah. The courts will file petitions and everything. They'll be everywhere, all the way from small to federal courts to the state Supreme Courts for the states. So rest assured that that's not going to happen anytime soon. So if that was one of your big issues, you'll be all right. Another one was the end of democracy. It's funny how they were so worried about the end of democracy and the Constitution and stuff like that when this administration and then the Hillary Clinton wasn't even administration because they didn't win, colluded with big social media companies like Meta and Twitter at the time. Now it's owned by X, by Elon Musk, to censor freedom of speech. And and not even that, just the coup that they pulled on Joe Biden after the debate. You're talking about the end of democracy because Trump's back in, and they suspended the rule of democracy on their own party just to try to beat Trump. Kamala Harris didn't win a primary. She was never officially their candidate.
Yeah.
They just gave her all his what do you call them? His votes, but they call them a different word. I can't think about it right now. And they have the brass to say that Republicans and the MAGA GOP was going to be the end to democracy. Like, it's just hypocritical of them to use that type of a language. You know what I mean? It's crazy, and people just ate it up. Just the fear. I've always said that fear drives people to do things they normally wouldn't do because of the flight and fear mode. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But and I wanted to do this episode because I know a lot of people right now are still in disbelief that Trump is your president. So the shock wave hasn't fully gone through. There's people that are I watched a 21-minute video today of adults crying, literally crying that Trump has won, and they don't know if they're going to be safe, if they can go back to work tomorrow, if the whole world's going to end. And I was like, wow, this is crazy.
Well, what's crazy is he's already been in office. Like, it's
4
not
years.
like he's never been before.
No wars.
What? Like,
Inflation, I think, was at less than 3%.
well, you guys are still here, right?
I didn't get
and he's
deported.
already been there?
I wasn't deported
You're still
then.
here, even though you're a citizen.
I might. One of the guys I talked to said if Trump won, he was gonna leave the country. So I checked up on him and just was like, "Hey, you should have your passport handy." I think he's about to win. So, but the crazy thing was that you went to bed last night, and I stayed up, because I was like, I was into this election. I've been following it, to about as much as you can follow it, and I was to the same conclusion that the results have shown. And I was, for 3 years, I've been talking to Democrats and explaining to them why they're not going to win. And they all wrote me off as delusional, crazy, and MAGA talking points. And I was like, and we're in California. We're in a very progressive state. Mm-hmm. I was like, the people here are sick and tired of it. I could only imagine the whole nation where there's more conservative people in real conservative states.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are these, Democrats seeing that I'm not seeing? Like, where are they getting their information? I had one of the guys that told me she's leading all the polls. She's high. Everything has her winning by a landslide. And I was just like, how can that be? Even when Joe Biden was in office, running as a running candidate, I was like, how is this possible? Where are these guys pulling all this information? Mm-hmm. I do not see it.
Yeah.
The data doesn't support that, And then I came to the conclusion, like Fox did too, that the left media has been lying this whole time. Mm-hmm. CNN, MSNBC, all those ABC, all those media stations this whole time have been lying to the public, have been lying to their viewers, their followers. And I have yet to see any person bash on them or come back and say, why did you guys do that? Nobody's questioning that part.
Yeah.
They're questioning why people voted for Trump, but why the media has been sugarcoating and lying to them about, Biden's mental capacity, the hoaxes, the indictments, the impeachments. Like, they're not questioning any of that. And I'm gonna let you guys know right now, all those indictments are gonna go away. Like I've told you guys, before they even started rolling out with the Georgia one and the 34 counts of felony, they're gone. They're going to be gone. I'm telling you right now, ahead of time, I've told everybody at the beginning of the year, and I haven't been wrong yet. So if you're hearing it, if you're not hearing it, if you don't watch Fox, you're hearing it from me. So keep that in mind. Go back and reflect on that then down the road and be like, oh, shit, you heard it here at the Farmers Podcast again first. So, with that, I wanted to do another episode and kind of just reassure people that Trump is not just a president for the MAGA Republicans. He wants to reunite. There's a lot of a separation in our country, and a lot of it's based on race baiting and fear, fear of the unknown. And we're in a time where our country has suffered a lot. The world is in a very different, dark place in Israel, Ukraine, Russia, China, Taiwan, North Korea. We need to come, together and get back together as one country. And I know it's, like I said, I know it's going to be hard for the progressive people because they feel like they're about to lose all their rights and stuff like that. But it's common sense, you know what I mean? 2 genders, math is not racist. All this pronoun stuff is going to go away. It's the transgenderism stuff, nobody's against you guys. You can be transgender all you want. It doesn't affect us. Just stay away from the kids. If you're an adult and you consent to your own, mutilation of your body and stuff like that, be you. I'm not gonna address you by your pronouns. If I know your name, I'm going to call you by your name. If you look like a man, I'm going to call you sir. And if you're a woman, I'm going to call you ma'am. That's just it. Maybe sir, ma'am, here and there. But I made that one up for the undecided folks. But it's time to move forward. The people have spoken. They want common sense back. And this administration was one of the most reckless and caused huge segregation between and division between, our country. Because we're not just Democrats and Republicans, we're Americans, and it's time to start acting like Americans. And I want to make one thing clear for the record. Just because you're proud to be American doesn't mean you're racist. And I've had conversations with coworkers before, and they've said, you can have brown pride, black pride, but you can't be white pride because that's racist. And I'm letting you know that If you have white pride, that's fine. There's gay pride. So there's, it doesn't automatically make you racist. You have a swastika
That's
and a
different.
point
That's
hoodie.
a little different.
I'm gonna look at you a little bit different. But other than that, hey man, be proud of who you are. Your family, your ancestors, your ethnicity. If that's what you want to pride yourself in, go for it. Me, we're all Americans. If you're here, it's because you want to be an American, even if you're here illegal right now. I don't see you as an illegal until you get vetted. But, I'm going to assume you want to be here because you want to be an American. And I think we've moved far away from that because we've had to pick sides and even like your families, Thanksgiving's right around the corner in the next few weeks. A lot of people aren't going to go visit their relatives because of who they voted for, which I think is stupid.
It shouldn't be like that. Like, just because we have different opinions doesn't mean, like, you should just cut me out of your life, like, or family, or it's okay to have different opinions. Like, it is okay. We still like you as a person. Like, we're still going to treat you the same just because you have a different opinion.
And that's fine, you know what I mean? A culture of mixed opinions is what helps us thrive, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because you don't want, you don't want just to be around the same people that think the way you do.
Yeah.
Because then you'll get stuck, and we do need progressive people because, some of their ideas are good ideas. Mm-hmm. But they should stay ideas.
We need other people's point of view sometimes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Point of views are always good, even on our side. You know what I mean? And I want to clarify one more thing. Project 25. 2025 is not a GOP thing. It was a group of guys. It's not been endorsed by Donald Trump, so don't worry about that. Just know that things will ultimately change. Now with the House about to be claimed by, we already had the majority last election. Now the Senate is done, and the White House, obviously, the progressives are going to be a little bit feeling what we've been feeling, if you want to say that, And I'm glad that Chuck Schumer's gone. He's not the leader of the Senate anymore, or the majority, the leader of the majority. I can't stand that guy. And Kamala will, I'm going to take a guess right now because she's going to be done pretty soon. Mm-hmm. I think, and it does suck, I could see her going as the governor in California in the future. Yeah. Which sucks for us that live in California, but I could see her going that way because she's done. She'll never be picked again for candidacy for presidency. So, which opens the door to who I thought should have been probably one of their top candidates was Josh Shapiro. The governor, he probably could have been a harder driving force for the Democrats. And, I'll say that the reason why they didn't pick him was because he's Jewish. And it hurted, their agenda with the Muslim community and votes that they needed in some of those swing states. And I've said that before. I've said it to people, even though they think that that's not why. But this administration has proved time and time that their support for Israel has been kind of tainted and held back. And, and it has to do with the voting. But it didn't plan out for them. Tim Walz got to go back to be the governor. What a horrible pick and everything for them. He didn't do anything for their party, but he's still gonna go ruin Minnesota more. So I do feel bad for the people from Minnesota, and I am glad that we are turning the page. real progressive quote. Turning the page. What can be unburdened. So I want to thank you, Brooke, for coming on the show, even though I didn't let you talk.
It's okay.
Please stay tuned. We'll be having, another episode, probably, hopefully, right after the holiday.
Will we?
We have a 3-day weekend coming up, but it won't be this month. Yeah. And feel free to reach out if you guys have any topics or anything that we haven't discussed, in the last few episodes. I want to tell you guys that the people have chosen, and thank you to all the free patriots, and because it wasn't just all MAGA Republicans. There was a lot of independents that voted for Trump, and the Latino vote, and male and black male too, that helped put the president back in office. And they're gonna have to restructure their party a little bit different to win. This race baiting isn't gonna work anymore. And this whole fascist and the Republicans coming to take your rights away isn't gonna work anymore for Democrats. I think they realize that, and hopefully they pick a more center candidate for the next election. Josh Shapiro would probably be on the top. I think Gavin Newsom, which is a horrible pick, would probably be one of running mates or candidate himself. But I'll be comfortable with J.D. Vance and Tulsi or Naomi Christie, the governor, I think, from South Dakota. But even Rubio from Florida would be a good candidate too for 2028. So I just want to say thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in. And like I said, don't forget to subscribe, follow our channel, reach out to us, and, thank you, America. The people have spoken. Thank you, Brooke, for coming and helping me on this episode. It was supposed to be short, like I always say, but I do apologize for that. Thank you.